Every country has violent, hateful, or mentally unstable people. What's different is not every country is awash with easily accessible guns. And so I refuse to act as if this is the new normal.
That was President Obama on Friday speaking out about the attack by Dylan Roof on the Emanuel AME Church in Charleston. The mass shooting has galvanized supporters of gun control, including those who've lost loved ones to gun violence. Joining me now from Charleston, South Carolina, is Lucia McBath, whose son, Jordan Davis, was shot and killed in a dispute over loud music at a gas station in 2012. Lucy, I'm so happy to have you here. Why did you feel it was important to be in South Carolina today?
Thank you. Well, Melissa, first and foremost, as a black woman, as a black mother who lost her child to the same kind of gun violence tragedy, and as a woman of deep moral faith, I felt compelled to be here because I really believed it was so important for me to be here and extend the same support and prayer and sense of community that these very members of this church I know extended to me and my family in our darkest hours.
In fact, on last week's show, we discussed the documentary about your son slaying, the 3.5 minutes, 10 bullets. And are you utterly disillusioned at this moment, having lost Jordan and then standing there in the space of this loss, or do you still have hope?
I would not be honest if I said, oh, I'm not disillusioned. Yes. I mean, this hurts me to my core. I have spent just so many moments, I mean, literally in tears over this very thing, because for me, the last bastion of safety and love and acceptance and forgiveness is in the church, and now the gun violence has extended beyond the realm of our communities into the church. And, you know, where do we go from here as a nation? But I do have hope, Melissa. I really have to have hope because there's nothing left. And what I see here today is a complete spiritual awakening in the community. I see people coming together the way in which God intended this country to live, because beyond the shooting of these 9 black victims, this is the same kind of violence that we see across the country. And I see people here today for the first time truly standing together and committing themselves to do something about the gun violence beyond what we're going to see and do here today.
Lucy, hold on for me a moment. Yolanda, I wanted to bring you in here. We were talking before the break about, Akil suggested to us that we have this kind of redemptive possibility that exists in the country. I mean, interestingly enough, it's part of that Christian narrative, too, that undeserved suffering can be redemptive, that literally in blood from that can come a resurrection, right? I'm in a church space in my mind. And so I guess, again, talking to Lucy McBath, I don't know how.
So I think there are a couple of pieces here. One is the piece about thinking about suffering as inevitable, but not necessarily redemptive. People suffer, bad things happen, and we get that. But part of the language that we're often using is the way in which we equate salvation and violence together. And those two things don't actually belong together. A lot of, as I was mentioning before the break, a lot of the kinds of gains that we've been talking about politically have come about because the blood of black people is soaking this ground. And so we have to think about ways that we can talk about redemption, we can talk about reconciliation, or even that we can talk about healing, but that isn't always built upon violent acts perpetuated upon black and brown bodies. There is another way. And we also have to talk about not just salvation as something theological, but we have to talk about what does it mean to be safe? Not saved. That's an interesting theological question. But what does it mean for black people to feel safe in this country if on a Wednesday night we cannot go into our own houses of worship?
Lucy, I want to ask you that question. I want to give you that question. What does it mean to feel safe in a country where you can't go to the gas station and play your music as a young person, where you can't go on a Wednesday night to a church and have Bible study?
I mean, that's a very difficult question to answer because, where can you feel safe if even now the church has become a platform for violence? I think it's a matter of creating that safety. We don't have that safety at this time. So we have to create those safe spaces. We have to be willing to go beyond what we see here today and go to our community legislators and civic leaders and pound on their doors that you are accountable and responsible. A lot of which is happening here in the country rests on your hands. And you have the power and you have the authority to help us create safe places, safe spaces for our communities and people. And that if they are not going to be accountable, we will make them accountable. And so what I implore is that we have to be the agents of change. We have to create those safe spaces, but we have to push those that have the authority to help us create those safe spaces. We don't have them now, but we have to move towards that. And you do that legislatively, civically, academically, socially, and most importantly, spiritually.
Thank you to Lucia McBath in Charleston, South Carolina. Every time I talk to you, I draw strength from you. You are made of extraordinary stuff. Thank you for being with us.